Good day, students. Welcome to this subject, English as a Second Language, Matein 5/3 and Matein 5/4. Your teacher here, Miss Michelle Joy. Let's proceed to our online learning discussion now. Class, before we proceed to our online learning discussion, I would like us to have a short review or recap of the last topics that we have discussed last week, which were about purpose of a song. So the first discussion that we had was about the purpose of a song. So it means to teach, practice, or review grammar or vocabulary, especially in English, to enrich vocabulary because if you don't understand the term, the tendency is you're going to open your dictionary or to look for the meaning of it in the internet. To introduce topics for conversations, debates, or writing as a warm-up or follow-up activity. It also used to develop students' listening ability, especially if you like the song, and if you like the song, you keep listening to it. To practice pronunciation and spelling of the words. To practice translation, because if you don't know the English word, then you are going to translate it in Thai so that you can understand better the word. To practice reading, writing, speaking, and listening. To stimulate creativity, for relaxation, especially if you're tired, and of course, for fun. The second topic that we have discussed last week is about the different types of a song. So there are many kinds of songs class. There are pop songs, chants, nursery rhymes, jingles, folk songs, learning songs, commercials, silly songs, tongue twisters, student-created songs, and holiday songs. So these were the two topics that we have discussed last week. So class, let us read the objectives of our lesson for this week. The first one is, students must be able to know what sequence of event is. And the second one, students must be able to know the different signal or transition words in sequencing events. So class, at the end of this online discussion, I expect that you already know about what sequence of events is and the different signal words or transition words using in sequencing events. Class, these are our topics for this week. Letter A, sequencing of events, and letter B, signal or transition words. These are the words that can help us to better understand our topic for this week. Please repeat after me so you can still practice your reading skills and your speaking skills even if you're just at home. Are you ready now? Let's start reading. Number 1, event. Number 2, order. Number 3, sequence. Number 4, transition. And number 5, signal word. Now let's read the meaning of these words one by one. Events means happenings, circumstances, incidents, affairs, proceedings, occurrences, proceedings, episodes, occasions, and actions. So events are things that are happening, actions that are happening. Number 2 is order. Order means rank, decree, enjoin, grade, dictate, command, arrange, tell, instruction, instruct. So when you say order class, it means things that are happening in order. Which one is the first thing to happen? And after that, what happened? What happened to the end? So that is the meaning of the word order. Number 3, sequence. Sequence means succession, order, chain, string, series, train, arrangement, progression, course, and sequel. So when you say sequence class, things that are happening, but here you are going to see which happens first, and then what happened next, and what happened in the end. Next, transition. Transition means shift, passage, conversion, change, transformation, change over, development, modulation, transit, and alteration. So transition means development of the things that are happening. And the last word that we have is signal word. Signal words. These words signal a definition, example, or synonym, or such as, for example, especially, like, that is, and in other words. So these are the 5 words that can help us better understand our topic for this week. Let's read them once again. Event, order, sequence, transition, and signal word.
Sequencing of events. A sequence is the order of events in a story. Sequencing is putting the events in a story in the order in which they took place. There are clue words in every story that can help you figure out the sequence or the order. First, next, then, and last. We call these words transition words. Let's see if I can use these words to tell you how I bake a cake. First, I put the flour, sugar, butter, and eggs. Next, I whisk all the ingredients together and put the batter in a pan. Then, I put it in the oven to bake for 30 minutes. Last, I decorate the cake with the frosting. So that is one way of showing sequence in a story. There are many more transition words that I can use, especially when I write a story. So these are some words that I can use to replace first. These are some words I can use to replace next. I can use these words to replace then, or these words to replace last. Let's try using different transition words in my instructions to how to bake a cake. In the beginning, I put the flour, sugar, butter, and eggs. Afterwards, I whisk all the ingredients together and put the batter in a pan. Then, I put it in the oven to bake for 30 minutes. Finally, I decorate the cake with the frosting. Now that you understand what sequence means, try to write a story using transition words to order the events of your story. Thanks for watching!
Now, class, let's proceed to our online discussion, sequence of events. So, class, when you say sequence of events, these are events in a story happen in order. First, next, then, and last or beginning, middle, and end words might be used to tell the events in order. So class, talking about the sequence of events in a story, we always have a plot. So what do you mean by the word plot? So plot is the sequence of events that make up a story. So it is the climax of the story. Every plot is made up of a series of incidents that are related to one another. Now class, let us all discuss about transition words. So what do you mean by transition words? So transition words give the writing a smooth flow and they help readers move from one point to the next. So why are transitions important? So let's read the first meaning. Transitions are how writers connect ideas so that they flow from one to the next. They make your writing easier to read and your ideas easier to understand. Why do we use transition words? Transitional words or phrases help to make our writing stronger. They help to give our readers a clue about what might be coming next. Think of transition words or phrases as a bridge. They also help to link ideas together. So transition words connect ideas together. They connect stories together from the beginning to the middle and to the end. Transition words. So time transition words. So they help move the story forward and show the sequence of events, which comes first, what happened in the middle of the story, and what happened in the end. So we always have the beginning. So example of transition words in the beginning or signal words, we have first, once, one time, to begin, to start, initially. In the beginning, it started when, first of all, once upon a time, one morning, one day, and so on and so forth. For the middle transition words, we have then, next, later, second, also, soon, after that, suddenly, before long, later that day, meanwhile, and unfortunately. We still have many more examples of transition words in middle. And the last one is end. So we have some examples of transition words in here. Finally, last, at last, in the end, eventually, to sum it up, last but not the least, as a result, and so on and so forth. Now class, let us discuss about what is sequential. So sequential, it describes events in order to explain the steps that must follow to do something or make something. So class, in sequential, we have the signal words, and some signal words are the following. So we have first, second, next, last, another, then, finally, after that, and before. So class, when we say transition word, it is the same as signal words. It tells us which part of the story are we already. So it tells us if we are on the first part of the story or in the middle part or we are already coming to the end. Now class, it is very important for you to know the different parts of sequencing of events. So the sequence has the first one, beginning. So what is beginning? It tells us what happens first in the text. After beginning, we have middle. So middle, it tells us what happens after the beginning. So we are already in the progression of the story. And of course, the end, it tells us what happens last in the story or the climax or the plot. We always tell a story from beginning to ending, the order in which things occurred by using signal words or transition words. Now, class, let us study some examples of sequence words. So the first one, of course, beginning of the story. So we have the following words that signals us that we are still in the beginning of the story. In the beginning, first of all, once upon a time, one day, first or firstly, to begin, to start, one. So once you see these words, it already signals you that you are still in the beginning of the story. Next, middle. So we have this example of middle as signal words or transition words. Soon, meanwhile, then, after that, third, thirdly, and in addition, also, later, after or before, next, second or secondly, furthermore, subsequently, moreover, and another. Now, class, we also have interruption. So, interruption is something unexpected or the twist and turn in the story. So, we already know that we are in the twist and turn of the story if we read these signal words or transition words like suddenly, all of a sudden, and but then. Next, ending. So we have finally, at last, in conclusion, to summarize, after all, by the end, at the end, afterward, in the end, lastly, by this point, eventually. So when we see these signal words or transition words, we already have an idea that we are coming to the end of the story. Now, class, I'm going to read to you a very precise and clear example of a sequence of event, making a pizza. First, mix flour and water. Next, make the base of the pizza. Then cut ham and green pepper into slices. After that, put the ham and green pepper on the base. Finally, put the pizza in the oven and bake it for 20 minutes. So as you can see here, class, in the very precise and clear example of sequence of event, it uses different signal words or transition words to tell us which one will happen or should happen first until the end of it. So class, just to have the summary of our topic for this week. So we have studied about sequencing of events. It means putting the events in a story in the order in which they happened. We also studied about transition words or signal words. Sequencing of events use transitions to show how events took place over time. So examples are the following: first, next, then, lastly, finally, later, eventually, at last, meanwhile, in the meantime, meanwhile, in the end, suddenly, before long, all of a sudden, the next day, afterward, as soon as, and over time. Class, for your activity or sequence of events, link for live worksheet is in Google Classroom. It means your worksheet for this week is online. So this is how your worksheets look like. So you please write your name, the date today, and your class. Drag the words to the space before the number. So these are the words you're going to drag to the correct number until 10, numbers 1 to 10. And after that, click finish and click check my answer. Your score will appear. Screenshot your score and upload in ESL album in your line group. Good luck, everyone! Class, we now come to the end of our online learning discussion. If you have any questions, suggestions, comments, ideas, or opinions that you want to share, please feel free to call me or send me a message in my personal line account, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Take care so much, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you very much.